Hello and welcome to session 4 of Veiled Fantasy. This is a reskin of Fraser Simon's cyberpunk role-playing game, The Veil, which has a base version and a couple of secondary versions. This reskins that for a fantasy city setting. We're on session 4. I will tell the players here, I forgot to give them end of session XP, so just give you a flat 3 XP. I suspect that for most of you that should take you to the 5 that you need to get in advance. Where we left off last time, you had more information about this order, the Blinders of the Ages, information that they had were some kind of conspiracy, possibly among the nobles, that they kidnapped people, that they put them in these bags that apparently preserved them. Why they did this is uncertain. And that they wanted these bags back, that some of them had been stolen, which led to Conic and Ramarog on wacky campus hijinks, including defenestration at one point, and the burning of a lab. They were able to, as a group, you were able to get some information generally about the bags and about that these things have been stolen. You have a name, Zilsaron, that has been tied to this. That's some of the leads that you have, but of course you can still hit the streets and see what else you can find out. So let's just do a quick check-in, just off the top of your head, just if you like, I definitely want this scene for today that I definitely want to get to, since this is our last session. Let me start with Evram. Anything that you're like, I definitely want to be able to get this on the table or anything?
I think I thought I had something at the end of the last session, and now I don't remember what it is. So, I'm just having an awesome time. Let's see where this goes. I'm not.
Okay. Fair enough. Fair enough. Conic, what about for you? Now I can't hear you.
Oh,
there we go. Now I can hear you. That's so weird.
Sorry about that. Yeah. Yes. So I'm in the same boat. I can't think of anything specifically that I'd like. Okay. I'm having a great time. Yep.
Beldis?
Yeah, I can't think of anything either.
Okay. If something comes to you like, and you go, ooh, I want to call this scene, please feel free to do that. Romarog, what about for you?
Well, now I feel bad because I also don't really have anything.
That's okay. That's okay. I like to do this on last session to make sure that if people have a strong beat or some headcanon thing that they want to get out, that we give you a chance to do that. And that may pop up during the course of this. Evram, do you kind of know what you want to take for an advance? Do you want to take another move? Or do you want to raise one of your stats?
Yeah, so I took another move. I took the skilled move. When you are outnumbered and neutralized, you generate an additional +1 hold on a hit.
Oh, that's nice. Okay.
So I guess I would kind of want to see a big fight.
You want to be outnumbered.
I guess that's what I'm signaling with that. But
that seems fair.
But it seemed I partly chose it because I'm expecting one.
Okay. Yeah, and make a note of that. There's something else I want to mention. Okay. Make a note of that. Okay. Conic, what about for you?
Not 100% certain. I'm either going to take a new move, or I was looking through the gear at the moment to see if there's anything interesting there. If I don't take gear, the move I will take is Storyteller, which lets me tell a story and everyone gets to erase a tick.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
What about for you, Beldis?
Can I take a new spell?
Yes, and actually, if you take an advance to do that, you can take 2 spells, or a spell in a gear pick, or 2 gear picks.
I'm going to add Jump,
Okay.
and magic missile.
Okay. I want you to do magic missile so you can describe to me what that looks like, because that is the most personal thing for mages.
Yep.
Okay. And then what about for you, Romarog?
I did not get enough XP to level up.
Oh, but you are close, I'm betting.
Advance, rather. I only
You are
had
one fail away.
Yes, I only had one coming into the session.
Last
or I guess
night?
going out of last.
Last night in our Legacy Free from the Yoke game, Patrick had an amazing success for his first roll, and every other roll was a fail for the entire rest of the night. And he got an entire family killed off, and it was the most brutal, high level, awful, and that was the new roller. So I thought it was a kind and charitable roller, but it is not always that way. So we left off with you having done some recovery after these events on the school grounds, and having talked to this necromancer and having made those arrangements. And so let's look at start of session moves. Dan, you were able to do a couple of things that your demon wanted last time, which took your demon's hunger down a bit, I believe.
Yeah. I think it came down and went right back up to 4.
Okay.
The guy's hungry.
Then let's have you roll your start of session move then.
Oh no, it looks like I'm at 3. So
That's
what it is. All right, 2d6, 3. Demon. I rolled a 9.
okay. So I've got one hold to spend on you to hit with during the session. Evram, you don't have a start of session, do you?
I do not, no.
Okay. But we do have the question of you explaining to your boss exactly what decision you made regarding the person you were sent after.
That is true, yes.
Conic, do you have a start of session? I believe you do.
I do. This is roll plus rivalry, and I rolled a 9. There's a well, wait. I lost it. Oh, there it is. I hear rumblings and name who is whispering about me, where my rivals would act against me, create obstacles, and discredit my work, etc.
I think that what we definitely hear is that, you know, apparently this item that you brought was dangerous. It wasn't properly assessed. Now there are people on campus who are dead, and there's a portion of the lab building set on fire. And when you put magic items in the hands of theoretical people, that's really when it becomes risky. And that what really needs to happen with the acquisitions people is we need to get like a pairing up where we get an applied person who can actually check and make sure of the relative safety of these items. And so that proposal seems to be going up through the faculty right now, and they're using your recent incident as some ammo.
Of course, yes.
And Romarog, do you have a start of session?
I do. I have black marks, which I have none of currently.
That is
So
good.
let's see. I did not add any dice to that roll, so it is just a 0. That is a 3, which
That's
is
a 3.
Wonderful, and it also means I actually do get an advance. After
Exactly. A mask's logic. So yeah. Part of that I would assume is probably that you've got this job that you've been assigned that's kind of on the down low. Right now, jobs have clocks, so just because we moved on a session forward, It's a 4-section clock, so it's got a tick. Other ticks can happen from hard moves and things like that, or time passing. So you want to get that job done before that clock fills. Let's take up with the group, sort of having a discussion on where you want to go to next. Actually, I'm sorry. Let's do lifestyle as we move kind of forward. Evram, your lifestyle, do you willing to pay the gold to maintain yourself?
Yes, I'm paying the 1 gold to my last penny to maintain myself.
That'll hold you up for a little bit longer. Connick, what about you?
So I think since I was there on campus, I think that's whenever the landlord equivalent kind of comes around, and it's like, I'm like, yeah,
The bursar.
yeah, and I start pulling out, and I'm like, make some change, and I'm going to spend my last gold to keep all of that up. Yep.
And what about you, Beldis?
I think I made some gold off Connick last time, who collected payment for us. So I don't need to gig. I don't need to work at the restaurant. So I've got the gold. I will pay it to pay my rent.
Okay. And Romarog?
My expenses are covered by the guild.
That's right. You are in good services. That's one of the first things that gets cut if you get in bad with the guild.
Yeah, but not yet.
Not yet. So we'll start the 4 of you probably headed off campus to get yourself away from prying eyes, a place with a modicum of privacy, where you can talk about next steps, where you guys need to go, if you have personal things you need to do, or if there's some grand master plan you have.
So before we left campus, did we have a chance to see a doctor about Romarog and myself getting fixed up?
Oh, well, the physicers that they sent over healed the other things for you for free. If you'd like the other wound levels healed quickly, as opposed to taking a day to rest, that'll cost a gold.
The severe?
Let's see, let me check the healing on this stuff. Let me make sure I've got this right. The healing on that. Too many pages. Okay. Wounds in moderate box and light box get better with time or medicine. So if you have a day or two to rest, you can clear your light or those light and moderate boxes. Severe boxes always cost a gold. The other ones cost a gold if you want to heal them faster. So what kind of marks do you have currently on you, Connick?
So I have a light and a severe.
Okay.
I don't have. There isn't a box for moderate. It's just light,
Yeah,
severe, and
it actually should be. Moderate is actually severe. You can see if time passes. You can rest and recover those, or you can spend a gold to heal those.
Well, I don't think I have time to lollygag around, and I don't have the money, so I think I'm going to go out hurt.
There you go.
Yep.
Romarog, what about you?
I do have some money, as a matter of fact. I am a relatively wealthy man. I actually have 3 gold, not 2.
Look at you.
So I am gonna try and fix myself up a little bit before we head on out.
Absolutely. You have, isn't it one of your benefits that you have access to a physiker?
It is a gear pick.
Okay.
Right, so.
Which means that for 1 gold, you'll heal all your boxes.
Great. So I will spend some time with the physiker. I took some damage. Did I get thrown out of a window?
No, that was Connick.
No, yeah, that is happening. I just sort of ran.
Yeah.
But I was caught in the crossfire. So, yeah, I spent some time with the physiker. I get bandaged up before going on my way.
So, Beldis, your familiar is still on your shoulder, kind of saying you need to take charge of these guys, right? You have to tell them what to do, right? It's your chance to step up.
All right. Well, what should I tell them to do? You're the one who knows everything.
Well, they maybe finding one of those bags. They were talking about that before, or after this guy that we got the name of. I want you to be all you can be. I want you to step forward.
I'm a cook. That's what I can be. But you won't let me be just a cook. That is all I can be.
That's a waste of potential.
Well,
and that's boring for me.
No, you sound like my father.
There's a reason for that.
So I'm like, so guys, think maybe we should look for one of those bags. Does that sound like a thing we might do? No? Another one of the bags? A different bag? Guys.
Yeah, that sounds like a plan. It seems like Zilsaran was implicated in the theft. So if we are investigating that bag, which we were previously investigating, that might be a place to start.
That sounds great. That sounds perfect. Find Zilsaran. Perfect. Where would we find him?
He is a highly placed person at one of the aristocratic magic schools.
Great. Should be pretty easy to find then.
There's a conversation I need to have with someone else first. I gotta go see an owl about a mouse. But maybe we should meet up again. And what time of day is it?
Let's say it's been afternoon. So probably it's evening right now.
Evening. Maybe first thing tomorrow morning, and see if we can track down Zilsaran.
So I could use some rest. I'm,
severely damaged.
I just, out of character, I very much feel like it would be helpful to talk to my my boss.
Absolutely.
Before going on this mission, maybe get some backup or at least institutional support.
Then let's frame this. Let's do a once around with each person. Check in on what you're doing, and then maybe we can kind of hard frame to the meetup the next day. Does that seem fair?
That works for me.
So everyone, let's start with you. You head back up to the tower.
Yeah, I think, I both know I need to explain myself, but I'm hopeful that in explaining to myself, I will get support for my mission, because it seems like the blinders of the ages might need the wrath of the books of the Spire to fall upon them, to show them what their rightful place in this city is. And I just need to persuade my boss of that.
So yeah, you'll head up in, you'll see some of your fellow agents there. And you will go in to talk to your boss. Give me the 30-second, maybe 1 minute pitch of what you're telling them, and just kind of so I have a sense of how you're framing this.
Yeah, I am straight and honest with them. I think that sorry, I'm blanking on names, so I keep on having to look over at my notes. I tell them the story about Kasala, right? About how the Blinders of the Ages, of whom Zilsarin is a member, bagged him, the whole thing, and like it is pitched very strongly that number one, that Casalo was acting not as an oath breaker, but as someone who was paying the dues that he rightfully needed to pay, right? That by not marrying his sister to this person, right, that was just and in line with what he's supposed to do, and that these Blinders of the Ages operating in secrecy, kidnapping, etc., are causing deep offenses to honor and must be punished. And Zilsarin is my first lead there.
So you make, again, a case for mitigating circumstances. The situation still stands that the man is an oath breaker. But we give you a certain amount of leeway to make that decision, so I will honor your choice in this case.
I made it very clear to him that if it turned out that his representations were false, I would be back and there would be no mercy. His representations do not appear to be false.
Well, in his beliefs. I think you're trying to sway your guildmaster here, right? I think
that is 100% correct.
Okay.
That's not going to work. Yes. And yeah, I am doing it with I think it's mad. I think this is me full of righteous anger making my case against these people. These people who are abusing their power, which is the thing that pisses me off the most. And so I will roll +1. Roll mad. That's a 10.
He will say, I will... if you wish to pursue this, if you wish to check in on Zilsarin and so on, you may do that. I will put the other birds into the air to see what else we can find, whatever prey you might push out into the daylight, we will keep an eye on. We act after investigation. We act after complaints have been made. We're not hunters in the conventional sense. But if you go to look into the situation, you have our backing, and we will have people at ready to help clean up what needs to be cleaned.
Thank you, Master. And the choice I make is I give a piece of myself to them, and that piece is he has cemented my loyalty. I had been suspicious that we were somehow complicit, and it's clear to me at this moment. We'll see whether it remains clear, but at this moment, it seems to me that we are indeed the sort of righteousness that I believed us to be, and so I'm like he has my loyalty. If he makes a command, I'm going to listen. I'm not going to question it.
Sounds good. Let's come to Romarog. What are you doing in this time between the fall of night and the dawn of the next day?
Yeah, I think I'm back at the office, and I'm looking into those underlings that never came back to work. seeing if anyone has heard anything from, Tim.
Absolutely. Let's have you read the world.
All right.
What are you going to roll that with?
Yeah, I think this is power. These are my underlings. I'm checking in on them. I don't know for sure that anything is wrong. Sorry.
Okay.
So that is an 8.
And remind me of the dynamic of the rumors that you were putting out there.
So the rumor was that a rogue sorcerer, some street magician, had distributed these bags, and that's where they came from. And someone knew someone who had bought a bag from them and then had died, basically.
I think what you will get the sense of is this, when you kind of check into this, is there are other people who've been asking around about the bags and talking about them, openly, thinking that they're just bags of holding or whatnot. It is very clear that the blinders don't want anybody talking about the bags at all. And you'll get the distinct impression that your associates got grabbed off the street and are probably floating in a canal right now. The blinders are really they're overreacting on that, given what you know. But they are definitely trying to get people to not be talking about them, not looking at them, not thinking about them. Does that seem like fair info?
Yeah, absolutely.
Beldis, what about you? Do you want to stay up and take another shift? Do you want to go home and rest?
Yeah, I think I've got kind of the day off, and I was just trying to remember some of the loose ends that we have, and just see if there are anything else I would like to tidy up or draw upon. I guess the demon jar that we had been so closely monitoring ended up in the vault at the university. Right?
Yes. Thereby drawing off the Kenku.
Right. I had tracked them down to that tower.
Yeah. You can go and talk to him.
Yeah, I might go sniff around the tower.
Okay. What is it you want? Do you just want to observe the tower, or do you want to try and strong arm one to talk to them, or what?
I think what I'm ultimately trying to do is get some info on Zilsarin, so that I can act in more of a leadership role in the group, to abide by my demon's wishes. So if I had some more information about Zilsarin, I might be able to kind of push the group and create more of a leadership role for myself.
Okay. So this does seem like maybe analyze?
Sure.
Is that what you have some strength of that with your demon, don't you?
Yeah, my demon. Well, let's see. When I seek direction from my familiar, I have to give it +1 hunger. Yeah, so that's it. So I will roll with peace. Sorry, I accidentally hit caps lock, so now I am shouting. I rolled a 5.
So, what is it that kind of this isn't necessarily your forte, kind of
No.
sneaking around. So what is it that kind of goes wrong here?
Well, I think I'm kind of asking around, nosing around this tower, and like I'm just not being subtle about it. So I'm like, do you know anything about Zilsaran? Do you know anything about Zilsaran? And so people are like, maybe they do, maybe they don't, but they just don't like that I'm using this name. There's a very prominent wizard around them. So I would imagine either it's met with a certain amount of force to try and get me to leave the premises, or some kind of magic to get me to shut up.
I think what we see is that you do kind of move into, between some buildings, and then you'll kind of realize that sort of on the perches all around and above are these Kenku. And one of them will drop down and will say, this is quite ballsy, wouldn't you say? We have a few hours before we're going to go after your friend.
What do you mean, go after my friend?
We gave your friend a day and a night before we would go after them.
Oh, right. Well, you're not going to find the demon jar with that guy anymore. It'd probably better leave him alone. He's a very, very powerful wizard.
I see. And why, might I ask, are you asking around about Zilsaran?
Who said I was asking about Zilsaran? I mean, can a guy just ask about other people in the city?
Well, we'll just tell you we have a few hours. We're going to not mess with you here, but we'll pass word on of what you're looking into.
Password on to who?
Why, Zilsaran, of course.
Okay. Where might I find Zilsaran?
Oh, no. We'll leave that particular battle in other hands, but we're going to go and tell him that you are looking for him.
Great. I think Beldis thinks he's done a good thing.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Like
and they're a little like looking at each other like, okay. And then they will try to fly off ominously, but Beldis doesn't read it as that at all.
No. And I'm wondering how much the demon is screaming in his ear, like,
oh yeah,
idiot, but he's just feeling really good about setting this up.
Conic, let's come to you.
Conic, what we see is, like, as the group was there at the university and they kind of talked about splitting up, I think they kind of walked across campus and ended up near his apartment building, and he waved at them and, was jovial, and then kind of turned the corner and went inside, and then kind of slumped a little bit. And he's kind of hurt, so he started kind of slowly making his way up the stairs, but leaning a little bit heavily on the banister. You see him go into his apartment, and he pulls out like some bandages, and he lifts up his shirt that's tender, and he starts wrapping himself up, and then collapses on the bed and goes to sleep.
Absolutely. And you can heal one of your wound levels.
I will do that.
So we'll hard frame forward to the next day, to the facilities that you have chosen. You're within walking distance of the places you need to get to, place with some cover, and Beldis looks pleased with himself. Conic looks relatively refreshed. Ramarog, he looks good. He's gotten his clothes cleaned. His wounds are all cleared. He's in good shape. And Evram is probably excited because he has a terrible swift sword.
Yes, indeed.
So a good mood all around.
I'm just gonna. I think we should play this soft and careful at first. We need to make sure we know what what we're getting into. Maybe not make it so clear right away why we're asking. I know I'm subtlety in interrogation thus far has not been my strong suit, but right tools for the task.
What does everyone else think? Ramarog?
Ramarog, Ramarog looks at over the table, goes, "Look, I have a job to do. I'm more than happy to work alongside you. This is a wonderfully beneficial partnership for all of us, but if you're not going to do this, you feel free to do what you want. But I have a job to do. This is, it's all part of it."
I thought we had the same job.
It's a strange assumption to make.
What do you want out of Zelchin, then?
What do I want out of anything? I want information. That's the job.
Then we're on the same page. I'm suggesting we go after the information softly and quietly. And not with a big flaming stick.
Information is information. That's all I'm saying. I don't care how I get it. As long as I have it at the end of the day.
So what do we know about Zelchin then? What information do we have? That's to the group. Although obviously, Ramarog, if you have some you'd like to share.
Yeah.
He's a handsome, middle-aged, philanthropic, well-regarded, aristocratic mage who has a chair at one of the aristocratic magic schools. A notable eligible bachelor.
I also know he is one of the blinders.
We are told he is one of the blinders.
According to current information.
He, Conic, do you know how to approach this university?
I could probably go see about checking something out from the university, but that wouldn't get us anywhere close to Zilsarin. I think we need to, I'm just glad we have the two of you along. I mean, I think you're powerful enough that you could just request an audience with his secretary.
I can't just, flash my. I could sometimes just flash my stick and people will listen, but when I do, they're usually on guard. I don't know that that's what we want here.
Elda says, friends, look, there's something I need to tell you. This is going to be actually far easier than we're making it out to be. I dug around last night and found some of Zilsarin's associates, and they indicated that they would let him know that we were coming to see him. So, just saying, he's already expecting us to come. Don't thank me.
Did hold on? I'm not going to thank you yet. Did you give a reason why we wanted to see him?
I was pretty straightforward in that we had some questions for him.
And did you mention who I work for?
No. I would never.
Wonderful,
never.
wonderful. So it sounds like he's expecting us.
It's distinctly possible. I mean, of course, he's expecting. We are probably the most interesting people he's going to come visit him today. I mean, the Kenku made a very big deal of how important it was to let him know that we were coming.
The Kenku don't like us very much, do they?
Well, these Kenku were very accommodating.
Were these the same Kenku? That?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, totally. Yeah, it's interesting you mentioned that now.
They're over the whole thing.
Well, they did sort of make idle threats, now that I think about it, to come get Connick to try and get the demon jar back. But I told them not to, because Connick, I told them about your reputation as a very powerful wizard. So.
Well, that's okay also, and that's, leverage, negotiation. They may want to see us. Now I know why they were so willing to okay. This works, Bell. This thank you. I am going to thank you.
No, seriously, don't thank him yet. So I say we just walk into the university.
Sure.
To his office. That is what Beldis is intending to do.
Evram is 100% convinced. Because this sounds like fun.
You're on mute.
Romrog, Connick, your thoughts?
Just look up his office hours to make sure that, we can reach him at the right time.
Yeah, Romrog is not one to look a gift horse in the mouth. Why wouldn't he trust Beldis?
So you're heading over to the school. So you will head over. Again, we see you traveling through the streets and moving up those levels until we reach the School of the Faded Flame, which is the university here. It's essentially one of the four aristocratic schools that are established they're great in their own way, but they're most definitely in the shadow of your institution, Connick. But they are filled with the wealthy and the powerful, and there are lots of people there. You are stopped at the gates as you arrive. And the guards will, before you head into the grounds, they can tell that you're not the usual types, and they will say, "What is your business here, good sirs?"
I step up immediately, just knowing the demon is going to nag me about being more of a leader, and I say, "We are here to meet with Professor Zilsarin, and he is expecting us."
Your names?
Well, of course, I am Beldis Demobro. You can check on your list. I'm confident he knows we're coming.
And he'll look at the others, and you, good sirs.
I'm Connick Benros, and I think that we have dealings to make with Zilsarin.
Ephraim, he'll look at you.
Evram Demir, my understanding is that he is expecting us. There's a matter of a negotiation for an object in which he is interested in. That's right, Beldis?
Right.
Well, your names are not on the list, but I will be sending one of the doormen to go and speak with Lord Zilsarin to see if this is the case. So, finally, you good sir, what is your name?
Ramarog now, Prez. I'm with the Society for the Spread of Information.
If you gentlemen would wait out here, the doorman should be back in a little bit. We'll carry the message for you, and we will see what Lord Zilsaron wishes.
As we wait in this foyer, Conic totally badmouths this university. A real university would have had a sending stone to call over so that they didn't make guests wait like this.
I'd like to send the demon to scamper along with the doorman to kind of scout it out.
Absolutely. What is it? This seems to me like you're trying to essentially kind of your clairaudience.
Oh yeah, yes, exactly.
Okay. Then why don't you roll analyze?
Fantastic. I am gonna roll with peace, I guess, again, because that one's so great. Oh my gosh, I rolled a 6.
You rolled a 6. So you will attempt to do that. The demon will kind of go out, and the demon will bounce back very quickly, and he'll say, "This is a very dangerous place."
I needed you to go so we could hear what they were saying. Remember?
No, that's my point. Is they've got more sophisticated wards here than we're at the other place at the school.
But you couldn't break the wards?
I didn't want to raise the kind of alarm and hue and cry that would be involved with breaking those wards.
You couldn't break the wards.
Couldn't is a strong word.
But
I erred on the side of caution.
Interesting.
And after a bit, the doorman clearly receives a message through magics, and he will say, "Lord Zilsaron will see you in the Great Hall." And he will say, "I will have 2 of the guardsmen walk you there." And he will whistle up, and a couple of guards. They are armed pretty seriously, magic items, that kind of thing, and they will fall in to walk you across campus here.
If possible, I want to sort of sorry, I'm blanking on English. Just walk a little slowly. Both to get a sense of the space as we're walking through it, and also just to be a couple steps behind the guards. Right, they're leading us, so I don't want them sort of just to keep my physical options open space wise.
Absolutely. Romarog, what is it you imagine you would see here on the campus of a hoity-toity elite magical university for aristocrats that is not quite as good as a real university?
I think a lot of these students have porters carrying their books around with them, for them, and that's just ugh, look at these kids. Can't even hold a bag.
And Beldis, what kind of orcs are there amongst the nobility that would have students here?
I think there's a fair number of orcs, and but they sort of come from further afield, so they're not from the city originally. They come from various kingdoms to get educated in the city, but this is sort of like their semester abroad type thing.
Hey, yeah.
So they kind of end up partying a bit when they're here.
They stick together. They dress a little bit differently. They're clearly talking amongst themselves in that sort of orcish accent and so on. And
Right.
you, when they see you, that like you're clearly a curiosity to them, you know.
Oh yeah, totally. Yes.
And like one of them will hail you in an orcish language that it might be orcish, but it's so heavily accented you can't quite place it.
Yeah.
How's that?
Yeah. I'm like.
They all laugh together as they realize, oh, you're one of the city orcs. And Conic, what is something here that you're actually like, ooh, that is kind of nice. I like that.
I see that they have, so the entrance that we came in is a normal common entrance, and
Yeah.
I think they have an entrance for the students that is sort of like on floating discs, so that the students, you know, arrive from around the different areas of town. Of course, they don't stay on campus, and they arrive on these floating discs that just drop them off where they need to go with their porter. And it's like, that'd be really convenient. I like that.
You walk across the grounds, picture very much the sort of the Oxford style grounds, and you'll be taken to a building that's kind of set off from the others, and you'll be walked in. Again, that stone floors, when your feet hit that, you get that kind of clack of the boots there, and it echoes in the rooms. And you'll be brought into a grand hall. The guards like kind of gesture and they stay at the doors here. Big hall, tapestries, pillars, big long oak table, various markers and things around there. And you will see that there is a group of people gathered at the far end of the room, and one of them will look up as you come in and kind of step forward. He has silvered hair, cut beautifully, like in the latest style, and he's dressed quite well. And he will say, "Gentlemen, you must be Master Beldis."
I kind of look back at my companions like, see? I am. You must be Lord Zulsaran.
I am. Please, let the four of you approach.
I walk right up.
Okay.
Kind
Head
of put
up that way. Conic, Romarog, Evram.
Again, I'm sort of. Go ahead, Conic.
I was going to say absolutely. I kind of scamper up and get right up on the table. Yeah.
Head up on there. Okay, Romarog.
Yeah, I'm not holding back.
Okay.
As far as I know, this is a good, good meeting with Beldis is set up.
And Evram.
Yeah, I mean, so I'm following. I think I'm like a little bit slowly. And sort of leaning heavily on my cane as I approach, but I'm there.
And there'll be a thing where you'll hear the of the doors being shut behind you by the guards. It kind of echoes in the room, and you'll approach up, and you'll see Beldis, as you approach, that there are a mixed group of men and women who kind of dress slightly differently, kind of standing back behind Zulsaran, and the demon will say, "There are others in here." And Lord Zilsaron will step up and he'll say, "So, Beldis, what is it you want?"
Right. About that, we have some information, and we were hoping you could clear up some things for us.
That's interesting. And he crosses his arms like that's not clearly the gambit he expected here.
Right.
What is it you wish to know? His eyes go over to Relmarok. He clearly knows that Relmarok's part of the information. What is your question? Master Beldis.
Oh, was hoping you were talking to the other orc. My question is, what do you know about some bags of holding? If anything, at all.
See, he's trying to read you, like he's trying to figure out, and he's like,
"There's nothing there, man."
He says, "I understand. And how much do you want for them?"
How much do we want for them, guys?
I'm going to be honest. I had some different questions I was going to ask, but how much do we want for them? That's a good question. I'm definitely looking at Conic, just to be clear. I am just like looking at Conic.
So Tharan says, "Look, there's been enough problems and bloodshed. We don't have to push any further on this. I will gladly pay you top coin for returning any of those bags to us."
Maybe before we get into we dispense with some of the social pleasantries, and I'm not comfortable with that. So I understand you're acquainted with let's call him a client of mine. Kasala Underin.
Mm-hmm. My brother-in-law to be.
Yes, your brother-in-law to be. I'm curious. What you know about your other brother-in-law to be?
So you make this situation much more complicated and difficult for me when you put those things forward.
This is just a friendly conversation. I met him recently. He seems like a delightful child. I'm a little surprised at how childish he was, but we're just chatting.
Not been my experience that there is a pleasant conversation to be had with your people.
And I sigh, and I'm no longer like before. I was leaning heavily on my cane, right, sort of covering the owl with my hand. But I'm not doing that anymore, and I hold it up, and I would like him to be intimidated.
Interesting. Then let's have you go ahead and roll that. What do you want to roll that with?
Hold on. Let me see what my ticks are like. Yeah, I'm going to have to roll that with sad. I was really hoping this conversation was going to go better. I was very optimistic after I heard what Beldis described, and this is not that. I am saddened by this situation. And so I will roll sad. And I rolled a 7.
Rolled a 7. So on a 7 from that,
I may only choose to impress, dismay, or frighten my target. So I think impress is probably, if being intimidated is being afraid and impressed simultaneously, I will choose the impress piece of it.
so I think you will see him kind of narrow and his eyes and step back, and I think you'll hear from the other people behind them. One of them says, Zilsarin, you've had your chance. Let's murder all of them. And we're going to take our break, and then we will come back on that. So let's start. We've seen Evram and Beldis kind of engaged in this conversation with Zilsara. We've got these figures back there. I want to know what Konnik's been up to during this, and then I want to check with Romarog.
So I've been looking around the room. I'm probably more looking at the room rather than the people. Specifically of interest, what does this university have that mine doesn't?
Sure. Why don't you make a... this sounds like an analyze move to me.
Yeah, that sounds good. And so this is before the death threat that just happened, right?
This is before the death threat, but after the doors have closed.
Okay. So I think this is more probably joy. This is curiosity in that case. I'm just looking around to see what's there.
Okay.
Okay. I rolled an 8 and my joy is 1, so that's a 9.
So you get 2 questions.
Okay. So the first question is going to be, what here is valuable to me?
Well, this built room is quite striking. It's clearly meant to be kind of a bastion, and to like lock people in. It's got a number of magical wards and things to protect once those things are kind of set off. A lot of the furniture around here is very well reinforced. Like it's been through magical battles and things like that and been replaced with harder things over time. And so that might go for a pretty penny.
Okay. So you said that this room seems to have been locked to keep people from getting out. Is that right?
Yes. It does seem like they've got you locked down in this big room.
So then my last question will be, what's the best way out?
The one way that you can see that may be potentially the least guarded is flight. They probably have some stuff for that, but if you act quickly enough and smartly enough, you might be able to get out through some kind of window or something before that comes shuttered down.
That's very curious. Cool. Thank you.
Okay. Romarog, what's your take on all of this here?
No longer quite so happy. Romarog, I'm also gonna look around. I am scanning very specifically for bags. Are these people around? They are maybe trying to kill us. These are apparently killing instruments, so they might have them on them. Or nearby in the area.
Sure. Why don't you make an analyze roll for me here?
Yeah, and I think this is mad. I am upset that, this seems like it might have been more of a setup than anything else. So that is... That is 10.
That's a 10. You get 3 hold. So essentially, what is my enemy's true position? I think you will realize that they don't have these bags on them. And your mind will kind of go back and you realize, these bags aren't the weapon. They're being used for some other purpose. You will see that they have clearly they've brought with them some kind of case. Possibly if you had a bag, they were going to put it in that. Maybe they have a bag in that one. You have 2 more questions. And you're muted.
Yes, I am. So I'm going to ask, what, if anything, appears out of place?
You kind of look here, you see Zelsaran, you see the people react behind him, and you realize that there's definitely these six that are back are colleagues, but also they have a different take on it than Zelsaran does. And that says to you that there's someone up above them. And you have one more question.
And then I guess my last answer is, how is Zelsaran vulnerable to me?
You can tell he's his motion, his movement is to go defensive. Like he's clearly going to get out of the way now. He doesn't want to get tangled up in what's about to happen here. Does that sound like a reasonable answer?
Yeah.
Okay. So you'll see these six people kind of step, forward from the shadows, and you realize that it's three sets of twins. Two pairs of women and a pair of men. They are dressed identically, and you can see that they start moving in different directions, with one of the pair of women like making a beeline for you, Evram. And as she moves towards you, kind of rushing at you, they're like after images of her behind the two of them as they run, and then those start running towards you. So, Beldus, you're the furthest one forward. Zelsaran goes to like get out of the way as these six come after your crew here. What do you do?
I think I do what I need to do, which is final form.
Okay.
I demand the demon merge with me, and I become the bigger, scarier version of myself.
And your fellows, you managed to hide this when you did this before, so they didn't see the full of this, but they're going to get an eyeful of this now, right?
Yeah.
So tell them what they see.
I think this is triggered almost exclusively by an adrenaline rush. So there's nothing I actually do to trigger it consciously. It just happens. And for an instant, the demon becomes visible to everybody. And it's kind of hanging on. I've been picturing it sort of not teeny tiny, but actually sort of child-sized, hanging onto my back. So like it's sort of constantly dragging me down. But now it appears and jumps off, and then as it lands, it's kind of merging with me. And immediately my skin tone becomes redder. I gain about 6 inches in height. I become sort of just bigger, more bulky version of myself. The tusks grow out, stuff like that.
And Beldus, what do you want to roll that transformation with?
I'm sad. I'm sad that I have to be seen like this. Oh God! I rolled a 7.
You rolled a 7.
Yeah.
You will merge and change, and the male twins will essentially move up to get themselves between you and Zelsaron, not to defend Zelsaron, but to get up on you. And you will see them draw these glowing cords out of their pockets like garrets that they pull together and come to face you. And they are squaring off with you. Evram, what are you doing?
I don't really want to have this fight, but I also really want to have. Evram really doesn't really want to have that fight, but Jesse really wants to have this fight, and so I'm kind of torn.
Looks like these 6 people here are determined to kill the 4 of you.
Yeah, I think I'm just dive in. I'm going to try to neutralize them.
Okay.
I think it's like, I think the, flame on, lightsaber on, whatever the sound effect is, whoosh.
What is it? Whoosh. Okay. Then let's have you go ahead and roll neutralize. What are you rolling with?
Oh. I think power.
Okay.
I think it's like, all right, fuck it. This is what I'm good at. Let's dance. Yeah. So that's plus 0. In fact, I am not fantastic at it, but at least with power. And that is a 5.
That is a 5. You start to whoosh, and it is like a tidal wave, and they will smash you back and knock you to the floor, dealing 2 harm, and your weapon goes across the floor.
1 times.
And essentially they are dogpiling to get you in a position that they can cut your throat. Mm-hmm. Conic.
So this is not something Conic is happy about. He kind of looks around. He sees all these people running around, and he hides under the table. So I crawl under the table. My intention here is I want to head towards Zelsaron. If anyone has a way to get out, it's got to be Zelsaron. So I'm going to use the table to get past the twins and the fighting going on to go after Zelsaron.
So that seems like risk you are aware of and trying to avoid imminent danger.
And I'm going to roll that with fear, because I am definitely scared. And that is a +1 for me.
Okay.
Oh, I rolled a 5. +1 is 6.
So you dive under the table,
mm-hmm.
and you're like, okay. And then you will feel someone grab your legs, and they pull you out onto that side. And the last pair of twins, the women, have clearly been sent to you, and you will see them essentially grab and start binding your arms.
I start screaming.
Okay. They start binding you up. It looks like they don't want to kill you, but they do want to bind you up. Romarog, you see that you're the only one right now who doesn't have a distinct foe on them. So Sauron is backing off. There are two of these women dressed in sort of rogue-like clothing are on Conic. 2 warrior women plus a shadow horde of women are on Evram. And Beldis is facing down with these 2 garroted male twin assassins.
Yeah, these all seem like real serious foes. And Ramrog is not happy with that matchup. So I'm going to go after Zelsaron, who seems like more of a schmuck comparatively.
Really? The guy who's a magical chair at the magical school.
Yeah, I don't know. We have theoretical magicians here. I don't know what he does.
Fair enough. What do you want to try and do?
Well, I have a club. So I have a concealed club.
Okay.
Which
You pull out your blackjack.
Yeah,
essentially.
I'm gonna pull a blackjack from my coat, and I'm gonna try and grab him, and have him as a sort of hostage in this. See if I can't get his arms stuck, so that way he can't try anything funny.
Let's have you roll neutralize.
Yeah. This seems fearful.
Does it sound like you're afraid?
I am. There's 6 people in this room that all seem very adept at fighting. So that is the roll with me, Tab. $11.
11. So on a 10 plus, you generate 3 hold and take no harm in the doing. So let's say one of the hold to grab him, that's a thing, is get a hold of him. And what do you want to do with the other 2 harm? Or other 2 hold?
Yeah, well, I'm going to force a change of location.
So moving him away from this battle?
Yeah, I'm gonna bust the door open behind us out of here. Or, maybe make him unlock the door, if that is the case.
So you're gonna be able to move him over to the door, I'm gonna say, at this grand hall. Does that seem like a fair thing? Okay.
Yeah, that seems fair.
And you do keep him from essentially magic missiling you in the face. And once he realizes that you're kind of moving him away from the melee and over to the door, he doesn't fight as much. And he's clearly like, oh no, they've got me. Oh no. Beldis, these 2 are moving, trying to get on, to flank you on either side. So you have a sense that these things are probably pretty sharp. Like they use these cords to cut off limbs or choke people. But you're pretty tough here. So what do you want to do?
Yeah, I think in this form, I'm stronger and faster. And I carry a sharpened kitchen cleaver with me.
That's right.
So I'm just going to kind of swipe down on the Garretts and try and just cut them in half. Like come down on one and swing around and cut up on the other one.
All right. So that seems like neutralize, with the goal being to essentially take away their advantage. Destroy their equipment.
Yeah, that's
kind of thing.
Right to me. I had another advance coming to me because
yes,
I failed a lot. So I bumped one of my mads. I bumped up mad to 2.
All right.
So mad because it's kind of. Holy moly! I rolled a 7.
So on a 7, you get 2 hold. What do you want to spend that hold to do here?
Well, it requires 2 holds to take away an advantage. So I'm going to take away their advantage.
So yeah, there's the thing is they will get, they are mad flipping out ninjas around you, and you have to swing that cleaver to kind of catch them. And there probably is that moment when one of them catches you around the throat and digs in and deals 2 harm to you before you can cut that cord off and essentially break their weapons. You're pretty glad you did that because you didn't take the full force of what they could have done. And they are regrouping there and trying to figure out what the next step is, because you're not the orc they expected. They didn't realize you could do this. They expected they were going to be killing an orc cook. That's what they were told by the Kenku, and this is a little bit different.
I was also wondering if Connick is screaming at this time.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Maybe I'm also trying to shoot off a magic missile in the direction of the twins that are after him. You feel okay with my trying to squeeze those two things in at the same time?
I think that whatever Conic does, you may help or hinder.
Okay.
Does that sound like the right way to handle that?
Sure.
Evram, okay, weapons out of your hand. These people are pushing you down. What do you want to do?
It's one of the pairs of twins or two?
It's like 4. Both of them plus the shadow versions of them have knocked you down.
Oh, got it. So that's a lot of people.
Yeah.
I've been trying to think about this, but in my head, I thought it was fewer people. So now I'm reassessing. I think I ignore them for a second, and instead what I do is I shout at their masters. And specifically, I think the person who said, "Why don't we just murder them?"
That was them.
That was them.
Oh, that was them. Oh, never.
Yeah. You have the sense that they were waiting to see if Zelsaron could talk down the situation. When Zelsaron didn't, they have their turn.
So I think I say, no, you know who I am and who I serve. You are clearly in violation of all honor in this city. And the master knows I'm here. Dare you risk the wrath of the Books of the Spire in power? And unless there's some obvious fictional reason why this is just not going to go over, I think it's kind of an ultimatum, but it's an ultimatum that I don't know that I have the power to, I'm trying to think about how I then follow through, what the threat is there.
You're not sure. What is the threat that you can actually at this moment bring to bear on them?
Right. And then it might just be sway. But obviously if it's something that they can't possibly, if there's if there's a fictional reason why that won't go, then make your move, and I guess I'll have to figure out what to do there.
You think that maybe you could make them hesitate. Maybe you could try and misdirect, but persuading them now, they're in the middle of, they clearly knew that you're one of these people, and they clearly are determined to.
Right. Maybe it's a divert then, like what you're saying, to push a hesitation, right? To get them just thinking about it for a minute.
That seems fair to me. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So what do you want to roll that with?
What do I want to roll that with? I think I'm terrified. I think fear is the natural thing to roll in this situation. Unfortunately, I'm not good at fear, but so be it. I could also try and spike sad, but I'm not ready for that. I think I'd rather just get hurt more. Oh, that's a 4.
That is a 4.
If I die here, that would also be kind of cool. I'm not going to lie. I'm not opposed to that result at the end of this session.
I think then, so here, I'm going to tell you what's going to happen here. And here is the other mechanic in this game that we haven't engaged with yet. When you take damage, you may say, I don't want to take any of that damage, but then you have to mark a scar or give us a trauma.
Ooh, yeah.
And they do 3 harm to you.
What does that mean?
That means you'll mark 3 boxes worth of damage.
In order to not take damage?
So right now you're I'm dealing 3 harm to you. So you can mark 3 boxes. If you wish, you can say, I'm gonna negate that hit, and instead what happens is I'm gonna take a scar or suffer a trauma as a permanent effect from now on.
Got it. I thought the scar trauma came with the damage. That was the thing I was confused about. Great.
Nope, this is a
wonderful. Yeah, I will totally do that. I think. And so tell me what they do. What's the?
They've knocked you down, and they've got short blades, and they essentially are trying to they've got many hands worth of knives, and they're trying to stab, cut, and just bleed you out right now.
Yeah, so I think the way I avoid it and sort of like what causes the scar is just like I mean it's me it's physical, right? I'm like wriggling and writhing and sort of pushing myself probably farther back and back towards the wall. Um but the thing that the scar, the thing is that like um I no longer have faith in my authority. And I think it's timid is probably too strong, or not too strong, but not
Shaken?
quite right. Shaken, um, it's like it's like let's say shaken.
Okay. And I think and what we see on screen is all we see is blood. We don't know that it's all superficial wounds and cuts as you kind of push
Right.
yourself back, and they're still coming at you, the two of them with these shadowy smoke forms of themselves behind them, and they are still closing in. You manage to dodge out of that thing, but you are you are in trouble. Conic. You're screaming. And then some magic missiles come flying by. These two guys are trying to do this. What do you want to try and do?
So, I don't think this is the first time I've been apprehended and tried to be cuffed. We started out this game with that kind of condition. So I think that, in my dealings, it's not that unusual. So I think instinct kicks in.
Okay.
And I must be decent at getting away from things because I'm still trading in goods. So I think I just try to squirm away and get out of the bonds that these people are these two women, I believe, are trying to secure me in.
Okay. So that seems like risk.
Okay.
The risk is that they are trying to do this to you.
Mm-hmm.
And we've seen that Beldis is assisting you. Beldis, you may go ahead and make that assist roll.
I'll roll with Matt again. I rolled a 12.
So, whoosh, 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 this volley. Now, what do your magic missiles look like? What do we see?
I hope I can live up to your expectations. I feel like they come from my tusks and are actually sort of my whole head glows, and sort of the tusks themselves get very bright, almost too bright to look at, and shoot out, essentially, and new ones regrow.
Oh, awesome. Conic. Whoosh, these things come flying past.
So I think with that, I'm going to roll with power because, of course, this makes a lot of sense that, I'm a powerful being that can get out of these silly little bonds. Let's see what that looks like. Oh, I rolled a 3, plus 2 is 5, plus 1 is 6. Didn't make it.
They hogtie you.
Ah, yeah.
And one of them will grabs clearly a sash designed for this and immediately wraps it around your mouth to gag you. And Silsaron says, so if you can get us out, if we can go, and we don't have to be part of this, Mr. Romarog.
Yeah, Romarog. Romarog is gonna accept that deal. He's gonna, if Silzarin will open the door, he's gonna let him.
Okay. And Silsaron will say, kind of looks at you like, and he'll clearly cast a little magic signal, and you'll hear the bar get lifted on the other side, and the door cracks open, and he goes to leave.
Yeah. Well, now I can't afford to let him go on his own, so I
And
do.
he says, "You're coming with me."
Yeah.
All right.
So Ramarog is going to follow him.
He steps out into this hall where the guards are at. Gestures for you to come with them. And then he gestures for the guards to drop the bar on the door again.
Yeah. I think if Evrim looks over at that point and notices this exchange, Ramarog mouths the words, "Just a job," back as he's sort of sneaking out the door.
And I think that Evrim is as much a shaken moment. He wasn't an aristocrat, but the door gets shut again. Beldis, you hear the slam of the door again, but you're facing these two guys, and you see Evrim is in bad shape, and they've got Connick tied up.
I'm going to roar.
Okay.
To try and intimidate these folks.
So is this ultimatum?
Yeah, this is sort of a stop what you're doing kind of thing.
Okay. So we've got these two guys on you. That's, I think, who you can reasonably target with this at the moment. Does that seem fair?
I was hoping to get all of them to stop what they were doing.
I think that's a little outside the fiction right now, given where they are in the space.
They definitely seem to have the upper hand across the board. So I'm going to switch to neutralize.
Now, I have a question here for you. I haven't used the Demon's Hold yet, right?
No, you have not.
The demon says we should leave.
Well, the demon did ask me to play a leadership role. Was that the
yes?
role?
Well, I'm fair with reading that as that. If you want to read that that way.
I like where this is going. So.
So yeah, the demon's like, we should go. We should get out of here. You don't want to die here. You learn that cool jump spell. We can get out of here.
The demon and I are merged.
Yes.
So I think when he's talking, I'm talking out loud.
Okay.
And I say, not without Connick and Evrim.
So you guys will hear that. And what do you want to do now? You want to try and neutralize these two guys?
Yeah, I'm gonna swing my cleaver.
Okay.
At them again.
Then let's have you roll neutralize.
And I'm definitely, now that I'm not aiding, I'm probably gonna roll very poorly. Oh no, I rolled a 14.
14. So you get 3 hold on that neutralize, and you're not going to suffer any harm in the doing. So what do you want as your picks?
Let's see. I'm going to impress, dismay, or frighten my opponent.
Okay.
Probably frighten him. And if I inflict harm twice, can I get each of the twins?
I would say so. I think you can mortally, they're not going to be dead, but you could wipe one out and injure the other, or you could do severe damage to both if you do that harm pick twice.
I just want them to be incapacitated.
Okay. So what does that look like? How is it that you break through that and actually land these hardy blows?
I think the first thing I do is sort of say, pay attention out loud. But I'm telling the demon to pay attention. Like, we're here, we're merged, we've got a job to do, let's focus on this. And it's this sort of, it's kind of this Benihana style use of the knife. Like the cleaver is kind of flying around from hand to hand, and he's just making effective chops at key areas of their anatomy to incapacitate them.
Yeah, I think a cut across the shin, bring up a cut across the arm. And keep in mind, when you're merged, your physique is up. We can read that as an extra harm. So you're doing 3 harm. So I think there is this whirl, and then they're splayed on the tile floor, grabbing at their wounds there. Now they're trying to kick away from you following up on them. And suddenly the tide has changed there.
I think also, I was thinking frightening them was sort of a Hulk-like roar, but now I'm thinking just the utter nonchalance on Velvet's face is what is just deeply scary.
They think you're just going to step over there and finish your kitchen grade butchering on them right now. Evram.
Yep. Oh.
What do you kind of do? You see Rumrog essentially get out and leave you behind, but at the same time you see Beldis like catch his second wind and take his foes off of him. Conic is still tied up. What do you want to do?
Can Rumrog still hear me?
What do you think, Rumrog? Yes or no?
If I shout, can Rumrog hear me?
If you shouted, probably.
I shout, Rumrog, you owe me so fucking much! And I am here to collect.
Now, do you have a leverage on him?
I have an enormous amount of leverage on him.
All
I have 3 debts on him or something like that.
Absolutely. Then you are going to call in your debt on someone. So right now they're indebted. So Rumrog, you need to roll to pay your debts.
I mean, you can just come in and pay them also, right? If you don't.
Yeah.
Right? That's also an option.
That is an option. So it's roll.
There is a move to weaseling out of paying your debts.
Okay. That is what I'm going to try to do. Is it roll minus my 3 debts I owe?
I hadn't quite, because this works in. What I think you're going to get a -1 forward, just because you owe that much in the way of debt.
Three.
You must honor the debt, or all hell will break loose. I have a suggestion for what the hell
I know
is.
exactly what hell is.
You
pause.
I pause. I pause and I'm gonna turn and lift the bar off the door. And, nudge the door open and then try and shuffle out as quick as I can.
Yeah. I will say that with that roll, Zilsaran's gone.
Yeah.
Like you turn, you lift the bar, you look around, and Zilsaran is gone.
Yeah.
But Evram, you see the door come open. What do you want to do? You could try and get out. Because it does look like Rumrog's not helping you.
What I wanted Rumrog to do in paying my debt is the answer there, because I wanted him to come back in here and fight with us. But I didn't say that.
I
didn't say that, so I think that's a totally fair thing that you just did. I'm not complaining. I'm just like, I should have known better.
I like that. That pays off there.
No, I think that's very appropriate.
So you've screamed that out. What do you want to do? Bellis is in a good position. Conic's in a bad position. Rumrog has opened the door, but is probably going to take a discreet step backwards.
Yeah, I'm pinned, right? I'm still surrounded by those twins. All of those twins. I I think like with the additional kind of like anger I just had at seeing Romarog do that, I'm gonna pull out my knife.
Okay.
And just like make a just it's a big knife. And just like try to slash across, and this is another neutralize. This is me trying to deal with this situation.
Absolutely. So it's neutralized. You get an additional hold because you're outnumbered.
Oh, yeah, assuming I actually do okay with mad. This is all my rage at Ramarok piling out, and that's a 7.
That is a 7. You get 2 hold, and you're going to take damage in the doing.
That is fine. How much damage do I take? Am I critical now?
3 harm.
Yep. So that is the second critical. What does that mean for me?
The second critical, it means if you take further harm, you're out.
Got it. And I can still neutralize that with a scar?
Yeah, you could neutralize that with a scar.
Well, can I neutralize? Can I keep the 5 and then neutralize additional, or would the additional just be it? So I have all my boxes checked.
If you have all your boxes checked, the next thing you do would have to be a scar, and then after that, you have no more options.
Got it. I am fine with that.
Okay.
I'm going to keep it. And yeah, hold on. I need to find the right tab. There are so many tabs.
But you've got 3 hold.
I thought you had 2 hold.
3 with your bonus.
Amazing. So the first thing I'm going to do is just suffer a little harm, actually.
Okay, so you'll take 1 box less.
Let's start out with that. I sort of like, then
2 hold will get you out of that place.
Yeah. I really, what I want though is just my stick back. I'm not sure which one of those this is. Is it force a change of location to where the?
Yeah, I think it would be. You would have it back in your hands.
Yep, I'm going to do it.
So tell me what that looks like. I mean, you're a skilled fighter. They've got, again, these 2 twins, knives, these shadow forms of them.
Mm-hmm.
They've got you against the wall. How do you get out of that to get your blade?
I think what it is that like they're positioned specifically probably between me and the blade, right? They know that's a dangerous thing for me to have. There's lots of them. I'm right. I think what I do is I pull out that big knife, right, which is I think I keep sort of strapped like kind of right behind my back there under I have that cape, right? So I like pull it out, and it's like downward pointing, and I kind of pull back and just like slash forward to create space. Like I'm not trying to do damage. It's just to like to create some space, which I then dash through. They're still able to hit me with like I take some, I they're not so far back, but it's pretty bad, right? Like that's critical damage. And I'm already hurt, but I'm able to get over there.
Yeah, blood is coming out of you. Critical damage is stuff that is definitely will not heal without magical treatment, and even then it's going to take a while to heal. So yeah, you get over there and you grab up that weapon, Conic. Oh yeah, Evram, you have armor, so take that down.
I have armor. I keep on forgetting that. So I actually go down by 2.
Yep.
Because I also the other time I didn't.
So I would actually like to see if it would be possible for me to invert one of my moves.
Ooh, interesting.
One of my moves is the Artificer Things Speak, and one of the questions off of that is, what's wrong with this and how might I fix it? I want to talk to my bonds and to the gag to see if I might be able to, what's wrong with this and how might I break it?
I think that's perfect.
Okay, so I'm going to use power for this. Let me roll that. I rolled a 5. My power is a 2, so that gets me to 7.
So you've got 2 questions.
Okay.
So I think the first thing we'll say is that the item is very critical of the knot that has been tied. It is not a professional knot. This rope served on a boat. It knows what a sailor's knot is, and that's not a sailor's knot.
And then I'll ask the same question of the gag?
I think that the gag is mostly to get in your mouth, that if you can catch the back, like the knot on something,
It'll
like
pop right off.
You can pop it right off of you.
Is there something that I could do to try to loosen that knot?
I think you've got the fiction to do a divert to try and get out of these bonds. Does that seem fair?
That seems fair.
Okay.
I'll do that. What am I going to do that with?
And then I'm going to ask Rumrog what Rumrog is doing.
So I think I'm going to do that with fear. I'm just scared. I want to get away. I don't blame Ramarog at all. Okay, so that's a 4, plus 1 is a 5, so that's another failure.
And that is the thing, is just you're kind of pulling on that. You will see one of them has drawn out something, and they hit you across the head, clearly intending to knock you out, and you're going to take 2 harm.
Okay.
This is subdual harm, so this is harm that will heal at the end of the scene, but essentially they're trying to batter you to knock you unconscious.
And I drop like a rag doll.
Okay. Ramarog, Beldis has got his second wind. His foes have fallen back. He is at arms. Evram has rolled, and now he's much closer to you, and he has his flaming axe in his hand. And his foes are kind of turning to face him. The one who's in the worst shape is, you see Conic drop like a sack of potatoes.
Yeah, I will go to help Conic.
How do you want to do that?
Yeah, I think I've thrown away my advantage. Help is a strong word. I'm gonna try to distract people. I'm gonna throw something through the door. See if I can't knock something over, make a ruckus.
Okay.
Which might distract them and help everyone.
Okay. Then let's have you roll with divert. What do you want to roll that with?
I think this is mad because I just lost my best lead. And now I've got nothing to show for it. So that is a 7.
That is a 7. So you get 2 things you can pick.
So I will pick my actions create an opportunity for someone else.
Okay. Essentially draw them off of that. And then do you want to slip away?
Yes.
Okay. Because these 2 guards, you threw the door open and then threw stuff in there, and they... do you want to slip away into the room or get out of College Town?
I'm slipping away out. This
Okay.
seems like a bad place to be caught.
Okay, we see you take off. But I imagine like this ashtray comes flying across the room over towards the 2, kind of draws their attention. Conic, you kind of open your eye a little bit and you see that maybe you have a moment here. But let's see what Beldis and Evram do. Beldis.
So where are the twins that are going after Conic? Are they still
they are standing by him, but they've just finished tying him up and they're working to knock him out. He's apparently gone unconscious, so they're trying to face the rest of the situation here.
I think I've still got the blood of the twins dripping off the cleaver, and I still feel like maybe I made a little bit of a mess. So I'm looking kind of scary.
Yeah.
And I turn and I look at them, and I say, step away from him.
Roll ultimatum.
Great. I'm going to roll with peace. I feel kind of a strange sense of serenity.
Okay, this is all good now, yeah.
Rolled a 7.
Rolled a 7. So I think they fall back away from Conic, but you'll hear that click as essentially they like load their arm crossbows.
Oh, come
Essentially, they move to kind of fortify themselves in case you come at them, but they do step away from Conic.
I'm using that as an opportunity to move forward and try and pick him up. Essentially.
Okay, we'll say you're over. You can easily move over by him and kind of interpose yourself right this second. Evram.
Yes.
Now, the door is getting ready to be closed again.
Yeah.
You could try and get out. You could try to deal with these people. Try to deal with these women that have been have left you bloodied and helpless, but you might take another round of knives.
All right. I apologize. I did not hear what happened to Conic.
Conic is only slightly partially on the way to unconsciousness. He is still tied up, but the two people that were holding him are not paying attention, and they got pushed off by Romrock's distraction, and then Beldis following up.
Right. So I want to try and grab Conic and just make a dash for the exit.
I think you can do that because Beldis is pushed back.
Right.
Those people. So you rush by Beldis. Beldis, he rushes over to where you're at. And I think actually the two of you could try to grab him up simultaneously and run for it.
Yeah. I mean, that's my plan. That's what I would like to do.
Are we going to be able to get through the door?
The door's getting, see, it's doing a thing where the guards are starting to shut it again. And
Perfect.
Can I narrate that a little bit?
Absolutely.
I think they pick it up. I'm all wrapped up and I've got this cloak thing around me and everything, and I'm, just limp. And they each grab like a corner of that and drag me out, like with a weapon in one hand, and as you see the bumps as, yeah.
Then let's do it this way. Evram, I think that's a risk to get out the door, and Beldis, you may assist.
All right.
Excellent. Okay. I mean, I don't like any of my choices here. They're all just terrible. I'm gonna spike sad.
Okay.
I am like really torn up about this whole situation.
I think that's fair.
So what does that do? That unticks everything else except for sad?
No, all those stay the same.
And my numbers change.
What it is now you will roll sad at a +1 after this. You'll roll this at the +2. After this, you'll roll sad at +1, and every time you do that, you'll untick sad from the right to the left until you clear the red dot.
Got it.
Or you can roll with something else at a -2. To kind
and I clear the red dot by then rolling joy at a -2, like normally, or there would be some other.
It would be any of the other states you could roll if you say I'm going to take the hit and roll another state at a -2. That will unclear. Will clear your whole spike.
Wonderful.
There are 2 ways to do it.
Wonderful. Okay. So, anyways, for now, I'm going to roll at +2.
Okay.
And that is a 13.
So, Beldis, tell me how as Evram grabs this up, tell me what you're doing to make sure that this football charge works.
I'm going to fling my cleaver so it slams into whichever door is appropriate for me to kind of make sure that they gets held open.
Yeah, like it hits it hard, and they're actually probably thrown back as they're trying to push on it. Then that'll, and you can grab that out as you come past.
Right.
And the three of you go charging out of this great hall. The guards don't pursue you. You'll see Romarog walking quickly across the quad. Romarog, you see that your companions, friends, associates, burst out from those doors and are running across the campus here. What do you do?
Romarog is gonna keep his head down. These folk all look very suspicious. Romarog looks marginally less so. So he's gonna keep his head down until he's sure that the coast is clear, and then he might, wave him over a little bit.
So I imagine you're able to. There are a lot of students here, and I imagine while this does look strange, it also has a weird look of like student hijinks, because there's just so much blood on Evram. It looks absurd, and there's this weird orc with kind of reddish skin, and they're carrying, someone between them wrapped up. And I think we will see the three of you get out those gates. Those killers don't pursue you out onto the quad. Where do you go? Evram, Baldus, Conic?
I mean, I want to make for the tower.
You want to take your allies with you to the tower?
Not Romarog.
Fair enough.
Because I'm going to set my allies on him.
Okay.
But the rest of them, yeah. I mean, if he tags along, I guess he tags along. I'm not gonna. I'm in no condition to tell him no.
So Beldis, Conic, Evram starts, in his weakened state and shaken. He looks really bad off. Mm-hmm. It starts shouting directions to you. What do you do, Beldis, Conic?
Go ahead, Steve.
I'm gonna say, just for setting, Conic still thinks he's being taken by the by the two twins, and he's like screaming and like, help me, which is another reason why the students think this is just a joke, and it's like a hazing ritual kind of thing.
Yeah.
I think having gotten out onto the quad, I kind of lean over, and the demon emerges.
Okay.
And I'm sort of now back to my normal self. And I kind of take a deep breath, and I hear the clock tower going, and I'm like, I gotta get to work. And so my first instinct is to kind of wipe off the cleaver on the grass and head to the restaurant.
Okay. So as you get out, what are you doing with Conic? He's still tied up and
No. I'm sort of like after I've formed, I'm untying him, and I'm like, you okay, man? You okay, buddy?
Yeah, I like totally weakly try and fend you off until I see it's Beldis, and I'm like, oh, that was awful.
And Evram looks like he's headed in a very deliberate direction.
Well, Beldis, we should follow Evram. He's, he seems to be the leader now.
Conic, for what it's worth, I've always thought of you as the leader of our little group. But you'll have to go on your own. I got to get to the restaurant.
Are you sure they won't be waiting for you there?
Well, I don't think they know that I work there. So maybe not.
Okay. Well, let's meet up later after your shift.
That sounds great. And come by if you want, some free appetizers.
Oh.
Conic, are you going with Evram then?
Yeah, I'm going with Evram.
Okay, try to keep him conscious.
Yeah.
Okay. So Beldis, you head to the restaurant. Connick and Evram, you're heading to the tower. Rumrog, what are you doing?
Yeah, I'm going to head back to my office. I think I have a fair accusation I can make now.
Okay. Well then, Beldis, you'll get to the restaurant, and your boss is like, "What the hell happened to you?" And he looks at you, and you are covered in gore and blood.
Right. Yeah, it's not looking good. I was like, I'm sorry. Let me clean up, and then I'll get right to work.
Yeah, go, like, not in the kitchen. Actually, go out back and
oh yeah,
grab some buckets.
Of course, yeah. I'm actually
it's like, were you freelance butchering?
Sure. That sounds like a pretty good explanation of what I was doing.
And he'll look and he say, "You're injured."
Yeah. I was going to once I got paid, I was going to go down to the corner and have the Minute Clinic fix me up.
Well, we've got lunch shift, so just wrap a bandage on it, rub some dirt in it.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. No, yeah, I can barely feel it.
Okay. Evram, describe what when you lead Connick to the tower, what does Connick see?
Yeah, I mean, the tower that we described earlier, right, which is this like tall, almost Gothic, right, Gothic tower, in as much as a Gothic tower both sort of fits and looks a little bit out of place in our city. We're all the way at the top, right, of this like ever ascending city, and I imagine, I imagine there's no visible guard on the front door, but if you're not supposed to go in, walking in is not a great idea. And I sort of leaning probably heavily, partly on my cane and partly on Connick. I start walking us in,
and immediately there are a number of figures that will emerge out, and a couple of them will grab Evram, and they say, "Who is this that you have brought to the tower?"
And I answer, Evram saved me in his capacity, and I wanted to make sure he was okay. Are you friends of his?
We are peers.
And Evram, you will be safe here?
Yes.
If you object, I can stay here until Evram gets done.
I think that is good. We wish to confirm his vouching for you. If you will sit. And they gesture to a bench here, and they say, "You are injured."
I am.
And your friend as well? And they will call
yes.
the physiker there, and you guys can heal a wound level as you essentially your peers in your team arrive to assist you here.
I must speak to the master.
You will rest first, and then you may speak with the master.
So I think that my damage was subdual, so I'll take 2 off, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Perfect.
So you got a conch on your head. Evram, your armor ate up a lot of that damage, but you still in some hurt.
Yeah, I remove 1. Is that how that works? Or I have 1 light and 1 severe.
Yeah, so you'll remove the severe. Essentially, they'll clear that out. Rumrog, what are you doing?
Yeah, so I'm heading back to the headquarters to report.
And Wince is there, and she sees you, and she says, "Ah, good, because you're not really injured, are you?
No, not particularly.
You walked away unscathed. I think is the way we want to put that, right?"
Yeah.
And so you come in, and your boss Wince is like, "Ah, good. Do you have a report for me?"
Yeah, Romarog takes his place in front of Wince, and he goes, well, I can tell you that the bags all lead back to Zilsarin.
Interesting.
I can tell you that he's wanting to buy them. I can tell you that, well, I have good authority that he has links to some thefts of bags in the area. And I know that there is, let's say, inner conflict between Zilsarin and the other factions. It seems like
do we know what their purpose is?
It seems that some do not agree with Zilsarin's tactics.
Well, that's all fine and good, Romarog, but what is their purpose? What is this faction doing?
Well, that's not what you asked me.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Well, I think your contract is complete for this one then. Let me write you a script that you can hand off to the cashier and get your fee. And that seemed to go pretty well. Uneventful, I assume?
I don't know if I would say uneventful, but well enough. Zilsarin, we spoke briefly. If any forthright information comes up, I'll make sure to let you know.
All right. Keep that in mind, certainly. Beldis, you will do your shift, and feel a little worse for wear.
I think we established last time that there's a Physiker kind of up the street
Mm-hmm.
on the restaurant. So I take my salary and I go and I pay the Physiker for healing.
And he's very excited. Oh, yes, absolutely. It's good to see you again, Beldis. Well, this is good business. You know?
Hard that he punches.
Oh, yeah. Gives you some more ointments and some, mustard patches and things like that to get you all set up. And the demon's like, that could have gone better.
I mean, we were going to visit an evil wizard.
True. So I guess we can count this as a win.
I guess so. I mean, I was expecting to die. So to me, that's the fact that we're not dead is kind of a win.
And the demon pauses and says, I wouldn't have let you die.
Well, as annoying as you are, I really appreciate that. And, now that I think about it, I don't have any children. And the way this curse works is that if I die, you go to my children. So where would you go if I die?
I would not have let you die.
Oh. Cool.
And it gets real quiet for a while. Kind of sits there and waits. Evram and Conic, you two are brought up into this tower. Conic, you definitely have the feeling of a place that you're not supposed to be. But you're brought up, Evram, as well, and the master will say, he is trustworthy, or rather, should I say, you will oath for him?
I was injured and he helped me. If he is willing to take an oath, then I will agree to suffer the penalty as well should he break it. But I cannot speak for him.
And you owe him a debt. That's a binding, and we honor the debts of our fellows, so we understand that. Kanak, you are welcome here then.
Yeah, definitely owe Kanak a debt. Although Kanak may also owe me a debt, but
Master says, tell me how this situation rolled out.
So I tell him the story as it took place. I don't mince any words. It's quite embarrassing for me, I imagine. But the thing I want to make clear to him is that these are people who fall under our justice and who showed no interest, no willingness to even engage in discussion of it. Right?
Sonic interrupts at some point whenever you say something along those lines and said, well, Zulsarin did talk at first, and I think that the two of you, glare at me, and I'm like, oh, I kind of shrink back into the shadows.
Yes, Zulsarin was almost going to speak before his colleagues shut him and then us down. It is true. But nevertheless, it's these blinders, it's clear, flaunt our order.
They're clearly powerful. They clearly have influence. We were unaware of them until you brought them to our attention. This is not a battle that is going to be won in a day. We will have to redirect our energies so that we can even get a sense of the scope of this battlefield. It's clearly a conspiracy reaching across the nobility, but who's involved and how far it spills out is unclear.
Well, Zulsarin would be a good place to start. That much seems quite clear.
That is clear.
I said that I realized my tone of voice made that sound much sharper than Evram would have been under these circumstances, given the last interaction. It was a little more submissive, I think, than I made that sound.
And your master says, you have to recover. We have to study. We have to learn. We have to defend ourselves. And only then can we move against them.
Of course, Master. I am, as always, your talon to strike where you would have me.
And Kanak, what are you in this? Didn't hear you on that.
Sorry. Kanak says, I don't have to fight them, do I?
No.
Oh.
But we could use scholars.
What would you do with a scholar?
We would need people who can find out about what is going on with this organization, with these people, why they are doing this, how they are doing this.
I am good at ferreting out details. I might be able to help with this. What does it pay?
Well, and he looks, Evram can explain that. And you hear in his voice the sound of coppers, Clearly, Evram works for duty rather than coin.
I see.
Beldis, when you get off shift, do you track down your compatriots?
Yeah, I think I might go search out Romarog. And my attitude is going to be like, what happened in there, man? But he may think that I'm trying to shake him down or something like that.
So, Romarog, do you go to ground after reporting in, or do you go to look for your compatriots, or would Beldis come across you?
Yeah, Romarog isn't hiding. He's out and about. I don't think he is looking for anyone right now. He's on a little bit of a break, it seems like.
But let's say that the Beldis, you spot Romarog and you can kind of approach him in the street.
Yeah, and so I come up to him and I say, "Hey, look, I got healed up. I'm better now."
Oh, wonderful. You're not, forgive me for saying this, you're not red anymore.
Oh, no, it's a temporary thing. It's just a temporary thing. Like when I get really frustrated or upset or scared or really any sort of heightened emotion whatsoever.
It was quite a thing to see.
I'm sorry you had to see it and experience, that part of me. It's not something that really a lot of our people have to deal with.
Well, I'm glad to see that everything worked out for you in the end.
And I thought that was really clever of you to get Zilsaran off to the side. Did you learn anything from him? Did you find out why he's doing all this stuff? Why he's trying to take down all these people?
Well, I hope you accept that that's the sort of information you have to pay for. But let's just say that me and Vilsaran are not done with our conversations. I think there's more out of them yet.
You don't think I've paid the price to learn what happened to happen in your conversation with Zilsaran?
Look, Beldis, I like you. You know I like you. But I'm a professional. I have a contract. If they knew that I was violating it to give you some free secrets, they would not be pleased. Once I sell them off to the guild, they're in the guild's hands. They have control over the information. Giving out extras is frowned upon.
I see. Well, I thought maybe we shared a moment back there, like comrades in arms, but I see your loyalties lie elsewhere. I start sort of idly playing with my cleaver. Maybe some of the people you work with have extra fingers that they don't want anymore. Sort of making these strange idle threats. So what's next? What do we do now?
What do we do? Well, I was going to take a couple days off until I got a new job. I hear there's a wonderful new restaurant on the level above here.
Yeah. Right. They're looking for a cook like me.
Oh, well, I was going to say that maybe we could get lunch. I can cover it. I have, salary covering. You don't always have to be doing something. All right. I have a job for a reason. It's that way I can pay for the rest of my life.
Now, Beldis, how aware have you been of sort of the class difference between you and Romarog?
Oh, tremendously. When I first got to town, I recall I sought out Romarog for help. and it was a somewhat shameful experience for me. And having lived some of my adult life in this town, the verticality of it really sort of emphasizes that. So, yeah, I think I'm sort of done with Romarog, if that's okay with you, Josh. And I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to go back to the Abacus and Loot.
And I think this gives us good, like a good placement to do kind of the epilogues, to like what is the next step in these characters' lives here. Evram, can I start with you? I mean, what do you think the shape of this war is, or what do you think happens here? What are we going to see on screen for this?
So I don't know. Part of I think like there's a lot of ways this can go, and I don't know that I'm necessarily interested too much in like sketching out the details of those events.
Yeah, but
I think for personally, right, like the Evram story, right, is that they are more and more committed to their position in the order, in a way that has both made them, I mean, this is why cops are shitty, sorry, but like in a way that has both like made them more committed to the institution and less committed to the ideals, right, and in a way that so like I don't want to, I'm not sure what the Order's actual position is in relation to the Blinders, like the role they play, these different like secret organizations play in the social life, like in the life of the city.
Mm-hmm.
But now Evram is much more likely to go along with it than not, because of the personal relationship the Master kind of built with them. And it would take something would have to push them to get them to break again, which could happen, right? Like but if things keep going the way they are, right, they're sort of like, yeah, sure, I don't have to go after that Oathbreaker if you say that I don't, and yeah, I guess the Blinders maybe aren't so bad, we can work it out. If like the Master would have to like commit to making that case.
We see,
you know what I mean?
Some visual examples of your compromise,
Yeah,
of your that slope that you start
right,
to move
right.
down.
And I imagine, like, if there was, if Evram has a future in some future version of this game or some other game I stick them in, right? The place where they start is some inciting incident that gets them to question it again, right?
Mm-hmm.
But like in the absence of any gameplay, this is sort of what they're sliding into.
I like that.
Mm-hmm.
Conic, I'm going to start out the epilogue with the sort of the people from the school kind of giving you a rundown on what the bags do. Essentially, because you're that relic master and following up on that, and they'll say, what we found is that the bags actually cut people off, put people in suspended animation, but also cut them off from whatever destiny they had. Whatever place they had in the loom of fate, whatever they were to do, putting them in the bag cuts them off from that. What do we see for your epilogue, Conic?
I'm curious. So, okay, I'm going to actually, if you don't mind, can I do something big?
Yeah, please.
Great. So I think that after talking with the Bubooks, and they kind of see that we're at war with the Blinders, and there's a challenge to the honor and authority here. And I think through Connick's research, they find a weakness for these bags and the way that this fate has been manipulated. And I think what we see on screen is this image of Connick handing over some items, right, to the Boo-Bucks. And then we see little sneaky thief kind of people slip in, and whenever one of these bags is transferred, they either empty someone out of it or they go to put someone in it. That's whenever this person kind of flips over maybe the case that they were using to carry the bags in or something like that. And that's when the trap is sprung. And what Connick has handed over is a portable hole. So the portable hole and bag of holding interact, and whoever was about to use that bag gets, warped out.
Nice. You work to sabotage, to limit their ability to continually, manipulate fate through this way.
That's right.
Nice. I like that. Romarog, what about for you?
Yeah. I think that Romarog, I don't think that this line of questioning is let go. I think Romarog keeps getting sent out on these, onto these missions looking into the, what are they called? God, the blinders?
The blinders?
The blinders. And looking into Zilsarin. I think, I think he is a very professional guy in perhaps not a very good way. And I think that as he keeps investigating deeper and deeper into this conspiracy, these relationships he has start getting more and more frayed, because in the end, his priority is, and pretty much always will be, himself and his obligations and his comfort, and he's not a great guy in that way, but he is someone who was brought up in a system where he's working for the guild, and that's what he knows, and that's what he does well.
And of course, eventually the guild will get co-opted by someone, and you'll be in someone's pocket at that point. But you have a great place to live.
Well, I have some wonderful perks.
Yes. And Beldus, what is our epilogue for you?
I think Connick's super busy. Romarog and I sort of had this awkward falling out. Evrim is, deep in these investigations. I just go back to being a cook, and I'm doing that for maybe a month, 6 weeks or something at the Abacus and Loot. And at some point, my boss shouts, Belda, someone here to see you. And I kind of come out from the kitchen, wipe my hands, and Zilsarin is sitting in a booth there in the back. And he's like, these omelets were excellent. And I think he offers to mentor me because he's seen potential. Oh, the idea I had was that he saw the demon.
He definitely did. Yeah.
So he was like, I've heard of this curse, and I might be able to help you with it. And, while we're doing that, maybe I can teach you a thing or two to hone your magic skills. And feeling a bit shafted by my friends, I'm like, yeah, that sounds about right. So.
Absolutely. Steady salary, and we'll get you if you wish to cook more, I can also get you chef's training, whatever you need.
I think Beldus is maybe he's not a blinder, but he's throwing his lot in with Zilsarin. So
nice.
Yeah.
I like that. Thank you very much. That's a good arc. That's a very good arc. So that's the game. If you don't mind, I would like to do a quick sort of afterthoughts, stars, wishes, things like that. I really appreciate this. We had a very different crew of some of the ones that playbooks that I'd seen before, but done in different ways, and it's kind of helped me think about how the next iteration has to go of this. Jesse, thoughts, stars, wishes?
Lots of them. I love this. I had a great time. I apologize. There were some moments I was definitely a little distracted tonight. There was some stuff going on here, but it's all fine. Everything's good. I just want to apologize if I didn't seem like I was always fully present.
Oh.
Anyway, the in terms of stars, this has nothing to do with the game and just you as a GM, lol. But I wanted to say it because it's something I've been thinking. You are a master at pacing, and you're just so good at it, and I'm always just like hugely impressed at how you're able to I feel like I accomplish so much when I'm playing with you, and that it always the session always ends right at a moment when it's good to end, and I'm just huge stars to you on that. It's an incredible skill, and I'm jealous of it because I'm not.
I appreciate that because it's really important to me that I used to be one of those people like I imagine most of us used to play 4 or 5 hour games.
Mm-hmm.
And I've tried to condense that experience into 3 hours, So I really like to get as much done as I can.
I struggle with it a lot when I run games. And I always this is supposed to be a tight one shot, and somehow or another it stretches into a session and a half,
mm-hmm.
right? And I'm just when I see someone who's so good at it, I'm just blown away. So that's a big star. That not about this particular. In terms of
Sure.
the game, I really enjoy it. I love the vibe. I think the translation works pretty well. In terms of what I like about urban fantasy stuff, and that kind of picaresque, down on your luck kind of thing. I think there's. I want to think about this more. I've been thinking about this all month, and I don't have an answer. But I like the debt mechanics, but they feel kind of unmoored from everything else.
Yeah.
I chose the Oathbound because I wanted to, because I was interested in seeing the debt mechanics on the table. And number one, the Oathbound doesn't really engage with them. There are no Oathbound moves that engage with the debts. There's no, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not, but there's this concept of debt and honor that the Oathbound cares about, which is mechanized by the debts, but probably doesn't need to be for the playbook to work.
Yeah.
I
do think it would be better to just have some moves that reflect that more in the playbook rather than having the general debt moves. I agree with you on that 100%.
Right. I was very happy to be able to use them in that moment. That felt powerful, right? So I think that mechanizing obligation somehow in this kind of setting is powerful, but I'm not sure that the way the way it's poured in from the veil quite suits the setting. Is what I'll say there. So that's I guess a wish to have to sort of have some kind of substantive but maybe slimmer mechanism for obligation that
I think
a lot to say.
I think the Oathbound really deserves a reworking to to really pin those mechanics, make it their own, and let them do some cool stuff with it. It doesn't mean that everybody has to have that stuff, but that the Oathbound can do some sweet stuff with it would be nice.
Right. I think that's a good way to put like what I'm trying to express here. That's I think the wish. I mean, starts with the other players. Like I loved all of your characters. I felt like very. They felt very like real. They felt I could list moments, but I want to let you guys talk. You're wonderful. It was great. I had a ton of fun. I badly would like to see these characters do other things, as is often the case at the end of a campaign.
Stephen?
It took me a little while to figure out the system, and I think I can. I think I have the words now. Looking through the playbooks, there's a lot of playbooks.
Mm-hmm.
Looking through the moves and the several kind of sheets of rules and moves and XP and gear and magic and all that stuff, there's a lot of moving parts there. And I guess I'm used to, or I've been looking at games more recently that point you in a very specific direction, that are very tight and say, this is the kind of game we're going to play. But in this game, the words that I have this session are, this game is very broad, meaning that you can replay it, and the next time you play it, depending on what playbooks are chosen, that brings different moves into play.
Mm-hmm.
So it's completely a different game. I think it makes it more difficult for a GM because then, because they have to know all of those different types of moves and all those different types of systems, because they don't know what's going to happen in any given game. From a player perspective, I only have to know the moves on my sheet and the generic moves. The moves could have been a little bit tighter, like how you get gear. You get gear at, every time you level. Is that right?
Yeah, I've played around with that. I'm not sure what the iteration is right now. I have to go back and look at it. I've done it a couple of different ways now.
I just saw that on the XP during the session. It said something about in the XP tab, whenever you level, you also get either a spell or gear or something like that. And that's something I just didn't see or didn't notice whenever I first was going through this. So that's my wish, is sort of a wish, which is, now I understand the game is very broad and it's very different depending on the different mechanics that come in from the playbooks. As far as stars, so I really enjoyed a lot of these sessions. Just like Jesse said, there's a lot of key moments. I really liked whenever Beldis. I really liked how much Beldis seemed to care for Connick, and kind of kept him, because he was kind of kept him under his wing. I also really I really liked whenever Ramarog just closed the doors and walked away.
That was a great moment.
That was a lot of fun. And I really liked whenever I liked seeing Evram spike out. I played the Veil a couple of times before. I don't often see people spike out, and that's a lot of fun. It's good to see that and see the consequences of it. So, yeah.
Yeah, I'll say as a GM, I've realized that you kind of need to have a few more roles than you might in another PBTA game, and kind of lean into that spiking and be really aware of it. Because the first few times I ran the Veil, I didn't have any of that kind of stuff, and it was only once I kind of realized what the rhythm was. And I agree with your assessment of the Veil. The Veil is a toolkit for doing a whole bunch of different kinds of stories. Every cyberpunk version I've run the Veil has been completely different from one another. They've all been amazing, but in the half dozen times I've run it, none of the stories have been even close to being the same, even the same feel in a lot of ways. So that's a really good observation about that. So Romarog, Josh.
Yeah. Stars, I really like the playbooks. I think, yes, there are edits that maybe could be made as a game in progress, But I think that the playbooks and, the selection of playbooks are just incredibly thematic, and really put you in that mood of, like, urban fantasy, but, urban fantasy, and not urban fantasy.
Yeah.
I
haven't found a good word for it. That's the problem.
It is
when you say
difficult.
urban fantasy, everybody goes urban shadows,
Yeah, you expect urban fantasy kind of means modern, but it's more that, like, I don't know. It's a genre. I don't know if it really has a name.
Mm-hmm.
Michael Lombardi talks about, for his Pentola stuff that I love, he talks about magical, picaresque, fantastic urban picaresque. That's, I think, what he calls it. I think it uses some fancy words, but I think it, like, hits on the nose what it is.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think that the playbook selection is just so wonderfully thematic. It really does set up the sessions to come. So I think that is a big star. I just think it works very well. Wishes, I wish that I had not missed the first session due to my power outage.
Oof.
I think that might have helped me a little bit just to sort of cement myself into everything a little bit more. But I like the character of Ramarog as a little bit more of an outsider. I think it worked in the end. I had a wonderful time playing, and I think there's a lot of very interesting things about using the Veil in this way. And I think there's a lot of synchronicity that makes a lot of sense to use the Veil in this way.
Mm-hmm.
And I had some of the same problems as Steven, you had, with just there being a lot of stuff, and also, some stuff that is redundant. But I think that is, when it comes down to editing and, like, layout that isn't across docs and sheets and tabs and all that, I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed the few sessions we had.
Yeah, I think the next pass that I do on this is going to be consolidating some of those basic moves and cutting things that we never use, that never see the table. There's no reason to have them in there. They're just artifacts of other things. Like, there's a dual move. There's a one-on-one dual move, which seems really cool, but I never quite get to that, because it actually slows the game down, and then you got to, like, look at circumstances and things. But I can't bring myself to cut it yet, So
it came into play last week.
But it came into play, but we didn't actually had to play it out. The dual move has you actually picking out circumstances and things, and then making some choices. It's on a different tab.
That's right. He backed down. I forgot about that. Yeah. Or I backed down. Someone backed down. I should have pushed it.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it's fun. Dan Beldis, stars, wishes.
I loved every second of this. I was super impressed with each and every one of the players, and just how sort of robust the backstories and sort of the city infrastructure, if you will, the world building that you all did as part of your characters. Jesse, it felt like you had in your head just so much going on about these Oathbringer people and their organization and what they did, and it was like we were only just getting a small peek of all of that. So that was great, and I really wanted to spend more time in the newsroom for the information folks. I felt like there was a lot of really cool stuff that was going to happen with how they gathered information and how they used magic for that. Wishes, it's funny. We're talking about how sprawling the rules are, and I have been sort of forming this grand unified theory of rules in role-playing games, and I feel like some games are like mansions, right? And you've got the rooms that you go into all the time. Like, there's an analyze move, and we must have rolled that 4 or 5 times in this session alone. Mm-hmm. And then there are rooms that you never ever go into, but you're glad they're there just in case you need them. And then there are rooms that you never ever go into and you would never ever want them there. And I feel like I'm glad to hear, Lowell, that you want to kind of do some trimming and consolidating, because I feel like I want to really get this game more. And I felt like there was just so many different moves to deal with lots of different situations. Whereas maybe we didn't necessarily encounter them in this situation. And I also know that maybe they're not what you're trying to do with this particular genre, whatever it's called. So, yeah, so that's it.
Yeah, like my changing the Lost hack, it is a big fruitful mess. It is a ton of stuff in it, and I keep trimming a little bit, but it's always going to be a little bit messy. But yeah, there are some things that definitely need to be consolidated to make it easier to grok right from session one. I think that's really important.
The only other thing I'll say, because the other guys mentioned the playbooks, I kept looking for another move in my familiar playbook that I really wanted to add, and I just none of the other moves really jumped out at me. So I don't know if that's just because the particular flavor of familiar that I chose and sort of how I was interpreting it, or what.
No, I agree with you. I think the familiar is a playbook that every time I see it played in the original or this version, I always feel like it needs something more, because some of the moves feel like they do almost the same thing in some ways, and they don't open it up. So no, I think your instinct there is 100% correct.
Yeah. And if I were to wish for one other thing in the game, and this is just a personal preference, I love a robust magic system. And, I appreciate you have a spell, you can cast it, but I wondered if there was something more.
Yeah, the big casters have their own magic rules. So yeah, I love robust magic systems, but I did go with the default effect for fiction there. But I want to say I had a great time running this. I loved everybody's characters. I really loved everybody's arc, like where you started and where you ended. What you told us about the world was so good. I had so much fun with that. I love being able to build on the kinds of things that you players put out there. So I had a great time. So I'm going to stop the recording.